Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Pillow Talk podcast. We have a fantastic, exciting interview for you today. I'm going to let Florence introduce herself, but we are going to be talking some health hacks here. We are going to be looking at some things in your household, how to solve them, how to improve your life and well-being. So excited for this one. And before we start, I'm not a medical practitioner. Flo's going to share some advice and some things that are going to help your life, but be very careful. I'm not making marketing claims here about anything we're talking about. So legal disclaimers there, but some of this is very, very interesting. So I'm going to go over to Florence. We met last week at a health and wellness retreat, and I wanted to extend the conversations we had while doing sunrise yoga over dinner and part of this business retreat. So fantastic. You've manifested into my life, and I wanted to manifest you into more people's lives. So Florence, over to you. A little introduction to who you are and what you do.
Okay. Hi. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So I am Florence, and I am an ex-personal trainer and bar teacher, so a massive fan of health. And I'm now working online in high-ticket affiliate marketing. And I'm partnered with a company that sells medical grade products. And so I'm just here to sort of tell you a bit more about it, because I met you at the weekend and we started talking about the products that I work with. And quite a few people actually from the weekend had the products that I'm going to be talking about, and basically swore by them and said how amazing they've been and how amazing they've been for their health, which was amazing to hear. So yeah, just wanted to come and tell even more people and educate more people about the health benefits and the sustainability factors and whatnot. So here I am.
Perfect. Listen, guys, we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, other places that young people go, like TikTok, apparently. I'm too old for that. So guys, if you have any questions as we go through, then put them into the chat. I'm going to try and get it. My glamorous social media assistant is off on Fridays, so it'll be left to me. So guys, I won't miss your questions. I will look. So excuse me, look into the chat here. So firstly, I want to go back to, you said you were a bar instructor. Knowing my audience, that's not teaching people to be alcoholics. That's B-A-R-E. Is that right? It's a different type of bar, not alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not the first person to ask that. But so it's a combination of ballet, Pilates, and yoga. And it's really good for strength, for posture, for balance. And I was teaching that and doing a bit of personal training pre-lockdown. And then obviously when everything got locked down, I very quickly moved all my classes and all my clients online, and things just got really, really busy. And it was amazing just to be able to do it from my sitting room. I literally just pushed my table out and turned on the laptop and the Zoom, and Zoom was all quite new then still. I did everything. It was so bad. I mean, like, I had no mics, I had like no lighting. I literally just played music on my speakers, and I didn't realize it sounded like, for them, like they were underwater listening to music. Like, the tech was terrible, but I just did it anyway. And as time went on, it improved. I taught from my sitting room for quite a long time. I still actually teach from my sitting room. And then that actually, I'm just sort of explain a bit my what happened and how I got here. So online, I started teaching during lockdown, and the classes started doing really well because obviously they were more accessible for everyone, not just at Edinburgh.
Yep.
And then I had this amazing experience where my brother lived out in Costa Rica with his family, and he invited me out. He was like, I see your class is doing really well. Why don't you come out to Costa Rica and come and stay with us? And like, you can teach your classes from here, and you can learn how to surf, and you can spend time with us, meet some new people and stuff like that. So I went, and that was actually my turning point, a huge turning point for me, because I was making money in Costa Rica and I was learning how to surf. I was spending time with my family. I was in this beautiful tropical background setting, and that was where I was like, I want this location freedom. I want to be able to work from anywhere. Yeah. When the world started opening up again, gyms and studios reopened, and I was just like, oh, like now I'm gonna have to hustle again. Whereas I wasn't really having to hustle during like lockdown because everyone was available and ready to be like healthier, a healthier version of themselves. And I love being able to help people during this like crazy, unprecedented times. As it started opening up again, I was like, I'm going to start looking at other opportunities where I'll be able to work from anywhere and just work online from anywhere. And not like, didn't take long before I came across this advert online because I work with automated adverts. So I came across this advert and it was this girl and she was like traveling the world and she was earning money and she was like working from anywhere. She was working 1 to 2 hours a day. I was like, okay, what are you up to? So I learned about this business model that is attached to these amazing products, and it allows you to have location freedom, like time freedom, financial freedom, health. And I was like, I'm in, like, this is amazing. It just really aligned with all my values and everything that I wanted to build, like the legacy that I wanted to sort of build for my future and my family. And yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned the jumping on and spending all that time doing fitness. It came up in my memories there. I was digging it out. I listened to house music live streams. So you were doing online fitness classes. I was dancing to house music online. So
I love it. Everyone was doing their own thing, weren't they? They were all finding their own things that they loved during that time.
One of the nice things about it was it did take things away from offices, physical locations to we were like teaching martial arts online, and that went from like taking 2-hour classes twice a week to needing to do something and teaching self-defense classes online. So the world changed then, but it changed.
What I loved about it, everyone was so available and so like wanting to find ways to find like be healthier and it was very connecting in that way. I mean, obviously there are some not nice stories, but there are some really good things that came out of this time that everyone was just having to slow down.
Definitely. Yeah. And your life, your adventurous life after that sounded fantastic. All the cool things of, well, for us not being stuck in Scotland and getting a little bit of sunshine. It's not my life. Doing sunset yoga on the beach or sunrise yoga on the beach isn't my life. That's something I experience a couple of times a year. But moving forward, lots of the exercises on the mindset and business retreat was actually crafting your personal life, your perfect life. And I don't think that involves working in an office and sitting and computing. And it's what we're trying to build with Pillow, with our franchisees. But most 20 years of my life, I did that corporate jumping in, and I think I'd rather do sunset yoga, sunrise yoga.
100%, I am with you. When the world is so beautiful and there's so much to offer, like, why should we be stuck behind a desk? It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. Right, okay. The first thing I wanted to talk about, because I overheard the conversations, was about the water that we drink in tap water. And a question I had here was, people just drink tap water. Now, I'm focusing in the UK, in Scotland, because they fluorinate, put fluoride in the water. And even in the Scottish water is much different because we've got an abundance of rainwater to England and it tastes like hard and soft water. But people just take it for granted that when you go to some countries, you're like, don't drink the tap water, you will die. But in the UK, it's like, it's totally safe, and it's same as America. But talk us through tap water, and then we'll go into some things that can change that tap water. But let's look at the tap water, council water, as we call it. What's in it? What does it do to you, and how can we avoid that?
First of all, I just want to say, like, we are so privileged to have running water from a tap. Like, it is incredible.
Great point.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because we had to back in the day, it used to be, you had to search for water and everything like that. Now we've just, got it from a tap. I mean, that is amazing. But do we really know what is going on inside the tap water? I mean, it can contain things like lead and pesticides and fluoride, as you mentioned. It can contain chlorine, which is just not good for us at all, microplastics, any bacteria, and heavy metals and stuff like this. And over time, that can really compound in our bodies, and it can cause sort of oxidative stress on our bodies, and our cells don't like it. And the compound effect over time, it can lead to illnesses.
Yeah.
So we're sort of very trusting that it is absolutely fine and we don't, need to do anything about it. But we don't really know for sure. Like, and you can taste in tap water, like that sort of chlorine-y, sort of metally taste. So yeah, it's not as safe as I would say we sort of just believe it to be.
Yeah. And I was low key for many years. I would always, I think it was in Scotland, just drink tap water because we're lucky. As you say, we're very lucrative, reasonably safe, okay, long term. When you start looking into it, I mean, we don't have time to do that here, but when you start looking into it, it's probably not as healthy as we think. So getting these water jugs and filtering it out and just doing it manually. And then I think at the start of this year, we got an under counter thing. And I'm aware that just putting a filter that you change periodically, that's costing £100. I won't get the brand names, but this I can taste the difference if I can, or the lack of taste, should I say? But there's a massive difference to the filtered stuff going through your mains or filtered jug water, of which there's loads of different brands, to some of the bigger reverse osmosis, all these different things. So there's some quite sophisticated machines out there to actually do it, and whether you're using filters, small things. But I want you to talk about what you have experienced in. And am I right in saying that that's a water ionization system?
Yes.
Perfect. Talk us through that, because I heard that convo and it was quite exciting. And whenever I hear that, I get very excited because I'm interested in it. But talk us through it.
Okay. So this is a Kangen water machine, and it's from Japan, and it's from a company called Enagic, which has been around for 50 plus years. And it is basically a machine that attaches to your kitchen tap, and then it goes through a filtration process and then an electrolysis process. I also just want to claim, you said it at the beginning, that you're not a scientist or a doctor. Like, I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I'm not very good at the sort of science behind how it all works, but there's a shitload going on in this machine that I'm not going to be able to explain to you. But I sort of do understand. What I do understand is some of the benefits that it can have. But yeah, so it goes through an electrolysis process, and that basically creates like the smallest, most potent antioxidant in the world, and it basically neutralizes our body and neutralizes free radicals in our bodies, which basically are unstable cells that are missing an electron, and they go around and they steal from healthy cells like their electrons. So then that turns the healthy cell into a free radical, and then it just, the compound effect, it can then create like diseases and stuff like that. It can do. But what an antioxidant does, it basically is, it comes in and it has a spare electron, and it goes around donating the spare electron. So it like neutralizes oxidative stress in our body, and oxidative stress is basically aging. So antioxidizing is anti-aging, so it kind of reverses the aging process. So yeah, it really just supports cellular health, and it's basically recreating the water, is recreating what happens in nature. So for example, when like a lightning bolt strikes a body of water, it ionizes the water. So it basically brings that water back to life and it ionizes it. And so that's what's been recreated with this machine, what happens in nature so naturally. So back in the day, before we had running water from a tap, we would be getting our sort of negative ions, which is something that is really important for our body, basically, that our body cannot actually survive without them. So a long time ago, we'd be getting our negative ions from streams and like the earth and stuff like that. But with Kangen water, it's essentially recreated that technology so that it happens. So basically what happens in nature. And in that moment, like the water is ionized with an electrical charge. And because we are all actually electrically charged beings, this is exactly what our bodies need. So it needs electrons, not chemicals, which you can find in tap water. Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. Emma's commenting on Facebook here.
Emma?
Scotch water tastes okay, but we filter ours high flow. So Emma was also down dogging and shacking around and warrior poses as well. So on the beach. But an anecdotal story here. My 3 rescue dogs, before we filtered the water that I'm now drinking, under the counter, a very basic system. The dogs, they wouldn't. I'd always fill their bowls with tap water, and I'd say they're not drinking it, but they would go and drink rainwater. They'd drink it in muddy puddles, and that's why I said to Emma, the dogs know something we don't. They're not drinking council water, but they are drinking rainwater and out of puddles. Why would they? If they get very thirsty, they would. But 9 times out of 10, they would avoid the tap water to drink rainwater. So they must know something. Dogs are a little bit more in tune to nature than us animals, with all their other stuff going on as humans. But that was definitely.
I believe that. There's a girl in my online community that did a test with horses. And she just she filled a bottle, 2 buckets, one with just tap water and one with this Kangen water. And every single time she filmed it, every single time the horse would like sniff the tap water and then go to the Kangen water. So it obviously knew something as well. And I have to say, our dogs love it as well.
Yeah.
And I've done that test on our dogs as well, and they always choose the Kangen water. It's mad. So they do know something.
If a dog chooses it, that's fine. Emma's made another bottled water, right? So what's your thoughts of bottled water? You mentioned microplastics in these long names for things, and you think plastic's kind of safe, but there's, I forget what the term, this big long thing, but it's or 3 letters abbreviation, but plastic bottled water. Talk us through that.
So I mean, if you think about it, when you pull out a bottle of water from a fridge in a shop, do you ever think, where the hell did this water actually come from? Or how long has it been sitting in this bottle? Or how long has it been sitting in the sun for? Because especially if it's been sitting in the sun, like just left, I don't know, before it gets put into the warehouse or it gets put into the fridge, that it's more likely that microplastics are going to leach onto the water. It apparently, I don't know if this is completely true, so do not quote me on it, but apparently every year we will consume about a credit card worth of microplastic, which is disgusting. But again, don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure about that, if that's true. But it's, I think we do consume a lot of microplastics without obviously realizing it's not that compound effect. It's not good for us. So no, plastic is not good for our health. And people obviously think that it's cleaner water, but it's actually essentially dead water that's just sitting there for ages. We don't know how long it's been sitting there for. And of course, on the other side of it as well is the sustainability factor. Like we have apparently approximately 500 billion plastic bottles are consumed yearly, and 12 million tons of plastic ends up in our ocean every single year. Which is terrible. So even just making that one swap with refillable bottles is just like a first amazing step for just being a bit more sustainable and a bit more conscious.
Definitely. I saw that out the corner of my eye. I got that at the airport now. That's been transported from somewhere else in the world. It got transported to Alicante Airport. It's been sitting on a shelf, probably only for a few days, but it's been in the warehouses. It's then been on a plane. It's been in my bag, been shuffled about, and it sat on my desk for 3 days before I drank it this morning, consuming microplastics. But when you start thinking about the life cycle of that, it's sat there and I've probably opened it, and it's so there's bound to be something in that. A nice thing. I'm going to thanks for that comment, Emma. A very thing. We've got a refillable water bottle. It's glass, and I've got a big bit of charcoal in it, which again I can't quote this, but charcoal is meant to absorb all the shit in the council water. So
I've done that.
I put it in overnight, and I can. Whether it's placebo, anecdotal, but charcoal filtered water I just love the taste of, so I've got 2 big bottles.
I've never tried that.
No, it's just a nice stick of charcoal. It lasts 3 months. You boil it once and it refreshes it, and you do it again. So put charcoal in your water, just it's meant to suck, because obviously charcoal's highly porous, sucks all the stuff out. So that's what I tend to do, but not for sustainability, just because it tastes nicer. Right, I want to move on to a different subject. We've done water, but something every other single
drink plenty of water, everybody.
By the way, you had me at Japanese product, because for anyone that knows, I'm going to put up the Ikigai book. That's the Japanese principle of your purpose in life. So I've studied loads of Japanese psychology and the Japanese culture, and there's a lovely book, and that's one of the most beautiful books. It's just beautiful. But when you look at the Japanese lives, they've got loads of principles. It's why they have the longest lifespan of everybody else, apart from one other island set. But the Japanese culture and what they do and the way they consume food is totally different to us. So if the Japanese are doing it, they've got a longer lifespan than 100%. Us.
And if you think about it, like these machines are actually medically grade certified, so they have to go through like rigorous testing. You know, if you already know how healthy like Japan is and how seriously they take health, then like sorry, it's a really annoying cat that's come in. That they have to go through rigorous testing to get to that standard. Which is kind of comforting to know in itself. Like there's loads of certifications, medical grade certifications for this machine as well.
And guys, this is one for the listeners, because there's all these amazing things that very few people know about. And so, why didn't the BBC or the Guardian newspaper tell me this? Because nobody makes money from us being healthy, guys. Everything is engineered in such a way that the medical health profession is there to make money. That's just the way it is. Health foods aren't health foods. Medicines keeping people addicted to drugs. So all the cool things that do extend life, you won't really hear them. Never going to tell you in the BBC or the Guardian or in newspapers. It's not as if it's secret flow, but you need to do the research for yourself, guys. But essentially, it doesn't pay anybody money to be healthy. Healthy people that are at peace with life and do yoga on the beach and have nice, healthy bodies don't make money for big companies, and that's essentially why you don't hear these things.
And you know, in Japan, they look at preventative action for health rather than curing it there and then, and that's I think what we do more over here. Whereas this drinking this water, it has so many health benefits, but it's also, by drinking it, you're doing yourself so much good for the future, like preventative action for like any health issues that you might have in the future.
Yeah. Perfect. Right. I digressed there because it was a bit.
I loved it.
Japan, and I saw the book out the corner of my eye. Right. I want to move into something else. We all have this in our house. We all have water, running water, but we all have things. The Internet of Things is exploding. Microwaves and fridges have got Wi-Fi signals. We've all got these devices here blasting at our heads every single night. We've got laptops. And I want to look at EMF fields. Now, I didn't get a chance to chat to you about this, but I bought a small EMF field. And I just put it on and it just started bleeping. So I just pressed the button, just went haywire and went red. So this is just a 30 quid one, but it is quite surprising because that's whatever that voltage is. But when you put it there, and again, I'm not going to go into the studies about phones at your head for long periods of time, but EMF fields, let's talk about that.
Okay. So, electromagnetic fields are, they are basically things like Wi-Fi and mobile phones and what else? I mean, like, as you said, fridges, anything technology-wise. And they're things that we can't see. So we've kind of like accepted it, haven't we, in a way? Just like, all right, well, we can't see it. So like, it doesn't really bother me. But it actually can affect things like your sleep, and your nervous system, oxidative stress. It can give you brain fog, and sleep. It can affect your sleep. I'm not sure why I just said that. So yeah, it can. There are studies that show that it can affect things like this. And I love that you have an EMF reader, because if you YouTube this product that I'm going to be talking about, which is called the EmGuarde by Enagic, if you YouTube that, there are loads of videos of people with this EMF reader, and it's obviously going beep, 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 beep like crazy. And then literally, as soon as you plug in the EmGuarde, it just goes straight to 0 and goes completely silent. And it is crazy. And what it does, it doesn't actually completely stop the EMFs, but it neutralizes them. So it creates a more balanced atmosphere, and it targets a sort of 8-meter radius. But yeah, it's all patented technology from Enagic again, and it's just I think it's an incredible piece of equipment that we all really need, because even though we're not seeing these EMFs, they are there, they are affecting us. If you feel like you sleep really badly, or if you feel like you're stressed out all the time, it could be because they are having an effect on you.
And it's quite a complicated, deep subject. One of the most interesting things I think in life, one of the most fascinating things is the electromagnetic spectrum of what we can see and sense and feel. And the visual spectrum is massive, right? And you can see a tiny, tiny little thing with your eyes, because these are like electromagnetic sensors. You can hear certain frequencies. Then it goes into dog whistles, but then you've got things like X-rays, infrared, but all of these things literally exist to a massive degree, hundreds if not thousands of times. You can correct me, the length of the electromagnetic spectrum, and the very tiny percentage, less than a fraction of 1%, I believe, that we can experience as human beings with eyes, ears, noses, and proprioception and all these things. But the electromagnetic spectrum is massive. People say, well, you can't see it, so how can a radio wave hurt you? But I can guarantee you, X-rays can hurt you, because when I was in the Royal Navy, if you spent too much time near a radar system, you would go infertile, you could get brain tumours. So the electromagnetic spectrum is massive.
That's crazy.
And everything's vibrations. So you think this is solid. It's actually just vibrations.
Energy,
at a different frequency, slower vibrations. Definitely a topic for another thing about manifestation and vibration and law of attraction. But everything's just vibrating at different frequencies. And there's very many things in your home that does this, and it's becoming crazy. And this is a really short period of time. 25 years ago, mobile phones became mainstream rather than business people. So I don't know what studies have been done for your EmGuardes or whatever the product is. You can tell us more about it. But we've got a very small data set to work with here. But there is a lot of things happening in your house that could affect us.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm not a professional, so I don't know I don't know all the studies or anything off by heart, but I've just been looking into it more, and I just find it interesting that in a way that we're at that stage of just accepting. I actually remember I had this memory since I've been looking into it of when I first got my big brick mobile phone, and a friend of mine was like, you need to hold it away from your ear because it's so bad for you. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. Because she was like radiation and whatnot. And I remember being aware of that and initially being like this, but then obviously seeing everyone just keeping them to their ears. So then eventually I was just like, do you know what? Everyone else is doing it. I also remember, when you're I was sitting in a pub or something with a friend, and I was probably about 18 or 19, and she was going off the toilet, and I was a bit like, oh my God, you're leaving me on my own. And I remember her saying, why don't you just pull out your phone and pretend that you're sending someone a message? I was like, that's genius. And now you see everyone in pubs completely just on their phones, and it's just so normal. And so you can see how it's just been normalized that we're like, okay, well, it is what it is. We just accept it. We can't see it, but we're aware of it, but we're just it's just, you know what I mean? So it's normalized now. And we don't realize how much of an effect it is actually having on us. And it's so popular now to go to these sort of weekends where you can completely unplug and you completely be away from Wi-Fi, from everything. And it's obviously people are going to sleep well in these kind of situations and feel like their nervous system has chilled the shit out. Sorry for swearing. I think it's so interesting because we know it. We all know it so much, but we're just not aware of it anymore because we've normalized it. And it's just this is just, we're surrounded by it anyway. We can't get away from it, but maybe there are options. Maybe there are solutions.
to minimise it at least. We talked about the machine. How would that work? Do you need multiple machines? Is one going to do your thing? Does it work in a radius principle, or are you putting it next to your bed?
It's literally just like a machine about this big, and you just plug it in.
Right.
It's like, it's literally plug it in, and as soon as you've plugged it in, it neutralizes the EMFs in your environment.
Not going to affect your Wi-Fi signal or your 5G, is it? Because people would sacrifice their health and brain function to get a good Wi-Fi signal.
Absolutely not. It just neutralizes the EMFs in your environment. That's all it does.
Fantastic. Right. Listen, we'll talk about this forever. We've spoken about two things. We've spoken about your water that you're consuming. Again, everybody does it daily. We're talking about the EMF frequencies, EMFs in your house, electromagnetic frequencies, bouncing about everywhere. That's two different things. You've obviously got an interesting life. You know more about this than me, but what's some other tips or things to make your home more a better environment? What's some other things that you've come across in your travels, worldwide travels and research, and these nice products for our health? What's something that people can take away and do?
Without the products?
Yeah, other products, other things. We've just focused on water ionization and EMF mitigation. So what other things that are out there for people to look into?
I don't really know. Oh, as in like from the company? I'm not really understanding.
Anything. Just what are some tips to make your home a healthier environment?
I don't really know. I mean, like, I guess a clean environment. I like a good, like, nice space to come home to is always, I think, just good for your mental well-being. A clean sink. Keep your sink clean and you'll always be happy, I think.
What's your name? A clean sink, Emma, remember that?
Oh, I know. I tell you what else I'd like to talk about, actually, about the machine. That's okay. Because it's also, it reduces plastic in many other ways. It's very sustainable because you can actually change the pH level of the Kangen water machine.
Nice, okay.
So this is really interesting. So you can, obviously, if you remember from school, the pH scale goes from 0 to 14. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And then 0 to 6 is acidic, 7 is neutral, and then 8 to 14 is alkaline. And so we're drinking the more alkaline water, which is actually alkalized because it's ionized and alkaline. And then the acidic water you can get also from the machine. And 2.5 is also known as hypochlorosic acid, which is basically a non-toxic version of bleach. And it kills 99.9% of bacteria. So I use that for like cleaning my surfaces. I even use it, actually, I've got a bit of a sore throat at the moment, so I use it for gargling because it's antibacterial, so it like cleans my throat. So I gargle that. I use it for like any like kind of cuts or scrapes you get, and it's safe on your skin. It's safe on children's skin, on animal skin, and everything like that. So and what I like to do is I like putting it in a glass bottle for a spray, and I put a bit of eucalyptus and a little bit of lavender essential oils on, and it just smells amazing. And it just apparently it cleans as pretty much as soon as it touches the surface, it will kill 99.9% of the bacteria that's hitting on that surface, which is insane because it's completely got absolutely no toxins or chemicals in it.
But again, that's pretty cheap and free, and nobody makes money out of that. But when you see, so this is a great tip, guys, because the cleaning products that we have, even things like toothpaste and all these chemicals that we're using to clean your dishes and dishwasher tablets, Emma's sorted us for all this because she's got all this new, all these subscription things arrive on a daily basis of big boxes of not washing powder, but these things we get, dishwasher tablets, and trying to move towards things with a few ingredients rather than 40 ingredients that are big, long chains of chemicals. So
nice one, Emma. Love that.
I can't take credit for it. She's researched all this and done a little bit. Say, well, actually, all these chemicals, even chemicals in our washing powder that we're then wearing and breathing in. I used to, because I've always had dogs and I've always Febreze the carpet and all these scented plugins. I can't say I'm not a doctor, but scented plugins and spraying Febreze everywhere cannot be good. You're inhaling it. It can be positive. Might not be negative, but it's in no way positive to your health and well-being just because it smells a bit better. So loads of research out there, guys. So that's a fantastic tip. Look at the chemicals we're consuming because, guys, cleaning products, they're very simple. They don't need all these things. They definitely don't need massive chemicals. So fantastic.
And guys, that bleach is so powerful, and it's so toxic. You know, like you have to get out of a room. Like, if you've bleached your shower or anything like that, like the smells and like you're like, it makes you high. You have to get out because it's like it gives you a headache and stuff like that. That is what it's doing to your body. Like it is like it's a direct effect on your body. Your body does not want chemicals.
It can be good. You mentioned acidity levels. I have a good few audiobooks, and I do remember them because they were about 28 hours. Forget what it was. I think it was something called like Drop Acid on Audible. It must have been a big book because it was 20 odd hours on Audible. But just about how modern society is just modern life and environments have made us very acidic when we should be more alkaline. I was going to mention that, but I would have probably got it the wrong way around. But we've become very acidic, but we want to be more alkaline.
We do. Actually, I had a really interesting conversation with Pat, who we did the business course with at the weekend. His wife. And she's another person, well, Pat and her and other people that have this Kangen water machine. And she was telling me how she drank it all through her pregnancy because she completely believed in it. And she understands quite a lot about the pH level of the body. And she was telling me, which actually was news to me, was that the body is naturally at about 7.3545 pH level, but our stomachs are about 2.5. And what the Kangen water machine does, it actually just brings us back to balance. And actually, this is really interesting. Kangen in Japanese means return to origin.
Nice.
So so it's just bringing you back to balance. So when you're drinking 9.5, so the drinking water in Kangen water is 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5. And when you're drinking, say, for example, 9.5, if your whole body was 9.5, then you'd actually be unhealthy. But what Kangen water does, it just brings you back to the balance that you should be, to the healthy pH level that you should be, which actually I didn't know. And she told me that. And I was like, oh, my God, that is very interesting. So that's what it does. It's just basically bringing you back to a homeostasis. What's the word? Homeostasis, stasis. Which basically means bringing you back to like origin. And no matter like what's affecting you kind of like on the outside, like your environment, like pollution, like stress, whatever, it will kind of bring you back to that sort of balance. And I will say, just as a disclaimer as well, like if you are particularly acidy, or if you're new to drinking Kangen water, you can sometimes feel maybe a little bit headachy, or get a bit of a, like your tummy, might feel it in your tummy a little bit, just because it's your body is detoxing, and so you're like just feeling it, and like the more you drink, the more you're sort of balanced back out again, and you'll just feel amazing.
Fantastic. I suppose if you're getting rid of anything in your system, if you're detoxing drugs or alcohol or sugar, or
it's not comfortable. It isn't comfortable.
It's going to take time. Guys, we're going to finish up at the end. Flo's going to give all her contact details of how to get in touch with her if you want to. She'll advise you in these products and just point you in the right direction. And we'll get her details at the end. So while that'll come to that, guys, think about any questions you want before we finish up. And guys, if you're watching this and you're getting value, doesn't need to be you. Just go and share this with someone else. Share this podcast with someone you know might like it. I'm not in sales commission or anything, so not promoting it. I just love health and well-being, and we're going to come into that while we're thinking of questions. But I've one last question. I always like to get one bit of advice, and we normally do this in property business.
Okay.
What's one thing you would recommend to make people's homes safer? If you had to pick one thing that's going to have the biggest impact, what do you think that would be? Would it be the water system, or the EMF thing?
Well, I mean, I honestly, I'm such an advocate for all the products that I work with, because there are a couple more as well that I haven't even mentioned yet. And they're all, very anti-inflammatory, anti-inflammatory, and just very good for, there's so many health benefits. I would honestly just recommend them all. But starting with water is, I think, key, because we are over 70% of water.
Yep.
Everything is water. It's like the vitality of life. And if we're putting in antioxidant rich, alkalized water, then you are doing so much for your health, and repairing your cells and everything like that. But also an amazing thing for your wellness and for your mental health is the EmGuarde, which neutralizes the EMFs in our environment, which is incredible. So I have absolutely no answer for that. I basically say all of it is amazing, but starting with water is definitely, it's definitely essential. So make sure you're drinking enough water.
Perfect. I have a question for you. Because I did this when I was before the podcast, and if you check the stories, I'm just going to go into a podcast, and I'm out because it's about health and well-being, and I'm getting some sunshine on your eyes, okay, direct sun on your skin, loads of things that make money out of sun cream and telling you to stay indoors to be healthy, vitamin D, sun, fresh air, steps and exercise. But there was a thing I didn't put on as I was doing it, because I was barefoot on the grass, and I was
very good.
Grounding. What's your thoughts on this? Because it's something, walking barefoot to the ground, getting rid of probably the EMF fields and whatever it is. You'll be more knowledgeable on this, but something I try to do every day and spend as much time, not in rubber-soled shoes, but connecting to the earth, whether that's the grass, sometimes the beach when you can do it. But what's your thoughts on it? Because you're experienced.
Well, I love that you do that, because I really believe in that, and it's the same with the water. Like it's natural electrons from the earth that are so good for us. Yep. And I think that we all need to be doing more of that, actually, to be honest, because we're always stomping around on concrete, or as you say, on our in our shoes and stuff like that. And this is what we were doing before we had buildings and technology and stuff like that. We were grounding much more and getting all the electrons that we needed from the earth. So it's definitely essential. And I love that you do that. I think that, I agree.
I'm going to give a shout out to one of my best friends, Rami, is over in Santa Maria Sal, Cape Verde, and Mem and I went. We spoke about this; it's our place to go. But he was telling me the healing, and they're from the Cape Verde Islands, just off the coast of Africa, 500 kilometers. Speaking to people there who are from islands, who literally live in the beach, were brought up there. Rami, if you're ever going to Cape Verde, we'll sort you out. He's got a business over there. But he was just telling me, walking on the beach, and people with hangovers jumping in the sea, and it's refreshing people. He believed the sun, the sea, it's all connected. We don't really think about this day, because it's computers, and it's not. We don't get a chance to experience it because we're sitting at computers and traffic and offices. But the way people were for the large majority of life was the way they would live. And Rami was, we sat to sunrise some mornings, and he was educating me in the way of grounding, beaches, the sea, the flow of everything. That's a big shout out to Rami. And if you're going to the Cape Verde Islands, he'll sort it out. I
like that as well, because what we really just accept our environment, don't we? And we really are also the people that we surround ourselves. We are the sum of the 5 people that we surround ourselves with. Mm-hmm. So it's like the EMFs, like we just accept it. They're there, we just accept it. But there are ways, as you say, to get these natural electrons from the earth, and that is definitely an amazing thing to do. Take your shoes off and go and walk around in some grass. That's all you need to do. It's so simple, and you will get so many health benefits from it. You might not feel it directly, but you might feel a bit better in your head as well. It is, just know that it is so good for you to do that.
Perfect. I don't want to start talking about stuff like that. We'll be here all day. Right, guys. I always like to finish these podcast by somebody's coming on and giving you guys their time, sharing some knowledge, might even change your life, might even save your life. I want to help Florence grow her business and share this with as many people as possible. So if you've watched this, number one, I would want every single podcast to make lives better in some way. We've done that and delivered that with some health well-being and mental well-being as well. But the people coming on, I want to support their time. So I want to try and get you some sales into your business. Florence, if you need any info, Florence will give you her contact details. If you think of anybody that this might be suitable for, share this wherever it is. So the live replay will go on to a watch on demand thing. What's your contact details? How do people get in touch with you if they would be interested in learning more about the various things you've spoken about?
You can get in touch with me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I am at glow.with.the.flow. But you can look up at glow with the flow and I will come up. Yeah, that was a mistake putting so many, oh gosh, cats are going crazy. Okay, that was a mistake putting so many dots in my Instagram handle. Or you can get in touch with me via email. Should I give my email address here?
Do it. Yeah. If you can type it in. If not, I'll put it in all the comments under all the threads as well. So I'll get it off you and contact you direct. But social media these days, because you'll be globetrotting around the world doing cool stuff. Let me know that. I'll put it under the threads of everything. But just follow you on social media, find your exciting travels, and learn more about everything you do. And I'm sure you're going to be sharing more value to your audiences and living the healthiest and happiest lives that they can. Guys, I always like to keep these under an hour where we can, because I appreciate your time joining us at lunchtime for the lives. I wanted to shout out to Flo for giving us some great knowledge. I've learned loads as well. This is only the tip of the iceberg, isn't it? There's just so much to learn about this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. It's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. And if you were to talk to someone that had a bit more of a scientific brain as well, you'll learn like a whole other like part of it as well. But for me, it's just what I understand from what I've learned really, and what I'm passionate about sharing with others.
Perfect. Final question: these systems you're talking about, I take it you can get them anywhere in the world. You can just how do you install them or?
So yeah, so Enagic, as I say, is from Japan, and there are 20. It's now in global, completely global. It's in 27 countries, and it has 42 like head offices all around the world. Wow. So the nearest one to us, there is a head office in London, but our ones come from the head office in Germany. So it will come over from Germany. So if you want to get a machine, what you would do is you'd get in touch with me. We talk it through and how you would like to do it. There are some finance options as well. Yep. And then we will just basically get your form sent off to head office, and then that will be it. Your product will be on its way to you in about 10 days. And
you can install it yourself. You don't need to be...
Yeah, there's literally instructions on how to install it. It's super easy. You literally just plug it in, attach it to your tap, and it's good to go. And it's like you literally turn on your tap and it turns on automatically. You turn it off and it will go to sleep on its own. And it will say hello to you. It has 8 different languages, and it does speak to you. You can turn that off if you want to, but I quite enjoy it.
No, definitely. Can you program to say what you want it to say? Like, wow, you look so fresh this morning, Scott.
No, it just says the same thing, but it just lets you know when it's turned on and what it's giving you, basically, what water it's giving you.
Cool, perfect. Listen, I'm going to leave that. Please contact Florence. You'll find her on social media, and we'll put the email address in. Thank you very much for watching. Final thank you to Florence for all the knowledge she's dropped, and probably tipped me over the line to go and get a proper system installed in my house, because it's crazy that I'm aware of these things and haven't acted. I've got a little mini one, but I understand for the price of it and changing the filters once a year, it has limited efficacy. I'll finish in a big word there, efficacy. I'll finish sounding smart. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I loved this. It was really fun.
No, I told you it was fun.
I know you did.
I just jump on and do these things, and people are often like, what is this you want me to do? But again, hopefully just sharing knowledge to people, put it out, and good things will come back. So thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much.
Cheers, everyone.